What's up, guys? So we finally have some more information. This is coming from Mike Straw at Mike Straw Media. That's his Twitter handle, and he works for Insider Gaming. So I'm gonna put a link in the description, direct to the article. Credit goes to Mike Straw. He's really the only actual professional journalist who's been covering this in the gaming industry, which to me it continues to blow my mind. Everything surrounding not just motorsport games, but everything. It's just a lot of it makes no sense, right? When the gaming business or the gaming industry is a pretty big deal nowadays. One second. It's a pretty big deal. And you can compare it to anything else in the entertainment industry, in terms of how big it is, how popular it is. The gaming industry is not a little thing anymore. To see how few people are covering everything that's happened at Motorsport Games in the past 2 to 3 years, I don't get it. I don't, why aren't people covering it? EA, everybody knows they're one of the worst companies, have been for a long time. They made some pretty cool games back in the day, but we are at least a generation away from that. A lot of the people that were around when they were making great games, they're not there anymore. They've moved on to other places, other things. And people still act like, oh, it's still, the early to mid 2000s. And EA is one of the worst, most greediest companies, right? I'm only using them as an example, right? You got other companies that have been on the hot seat. Almost every game developer at one point or another has had its share of bad news. And usually you don't really see it buried. Like you see people covering these stories. A game may come out, fail, there's backlash, whatever the case may be. It's not hard to find. There are plenty of journalists in the gaming space, and they all cover it, right? But when it comes to motorsport games and this whole the NASCAR video game side of things, there just aren't many people covering it. And when I say, I'm not talking about people like me, right? I'm not a journalist, right? I'm just more of an opinion guy, right? If you want to get fancy, you could probably call me an analyst. Anybody can be an analyst. It's just somebody breaking down something and giving you their take on it. That's what I do. I'm not a journalist. And a lot of times when I don't think many people actually get breaking news by following me. Usually they know something's already out there, and I think most people just come to me because they want my take on it, right? And it's just mind-boggling to me. Outside of Mike Straw, why isn't anyone covering this? I get that NASCAR games are not really on the radar for most people. This is sort of a niche corner of the market, but still, it's pretty big. Everything that's happened. I don't know if there's another company that has had as colossal of a failure as this company. And you look at EA, you look at the Madden franchise, all that stuff. Yeah, that's been covered by a lot of people, but it's still, as bad as that is, it's a playable product. And I don't know, man. It's mind-boggling. So at least we have Mike Straw on the case. I appreciate it. Shout out goes to him. I'll put the link in the description. At least go give him a like, on Twitter and check the article out, right? So I want to make sure he gets proper credit. This is really his work. So let's get into the article. Okay, hold on. Let me make sure. Okay, that's up. All right. What Motorsport Games told employees after reporting fourth quarter earnings. And when they mean by Motorsport Games, they're talking about Dmitry Kosko, the CEO. Let me read the article before I give you my take. Last Friday, Motorsport Games reported its fourth quarter and full year 2022 financial results to investors, media, and employees. What media? They don't talk to media. They really hide from the media. So I don't know. Maybe they had some official yes person there who just puts out a press release. That's not the same thing as having actual journalists there. In either case, within the call came news that the IndyCar game schedule for 2023 wasn't going to be released this year, and that the company was still evaluating what will happen with NASCAR 23. In other words, design. They said it hasn't left the design stage, but they don't even know what they want to do concerning the NASCAR game. Meanwhile, for the past year, they've been telling everybody that they already started work on it, that it's going to be a whole new game. They talked about their roadmap, that, you know, every time something got delayed or pushed back, or there was some negative news, Costco would always come out and sort of just tell everyone everything's still on schedule. The roadmap is still, you know, nothing's changed. Still giving you the same hand job, you know, bullshit. And it's just amazing to me that somebody can lie so egregiously for so long and still has his position as CEO, making millions and millions of dollars. I don't know if I've ever seen someone fail backwards. Fail forwards, right? In other words, in spite of failing, continues to be successful financially, retaining his position as CEO. I don't get it. Does he have like naked pictures of, the top executives at Motorsport Network? And because he's like untouchable. I told you guys before, this guy's been CEO of like 4 or 5 different companies. I lost track. Don't quote me on that, but I don't get it. I don't even know if I've ever known of a person being CEO, right? CEO is a very prestigious title, right? I'm not just talking about management position, right? Where maybe he's in charge of managing something, right? Because you can be a manager at one store and then move to a completely different business, right? You know, and be a manager, right? The manager at a shoe store, and then you end up, at Kentucky Fried Chicken managing a chain. I'm talking about CEO. Just to be CEO, right? For most people, that's a lifetime achievement. You don't go from being CEO here to being CEO there, and then 4 or 5 more places. I don't get it. There has to be something nefarious going on in the background, behind the scenes. And hopefully, eventually something is going to come out, because I don't know how long can anybody continue to get away with this. Even on a marketing, from a marketing point of view, right? If you're Motorsport Network, the parent company, just for marketing, you would think they would shit can this guy and just put someone else there. Even if it's someone else who's going to do exactly what he's doing, just to make it look like, hey, we know things are bad, but we're doing something about it. Just for appearances, right? Just politics. You would think some public relations person at Motorsport Network would be advising them, you got to get rid of this guy. He's like a magnet for just bad publicity. And you can always install someone else who's going to be just like him, right? I'm just looking at it from Motorsport Network's point of view, just to shift the whole thing, right? Because this negativity, this bad publicity, how's that working? It's not. And the last thing you want as a publicly traded company is bad publicity, because that's not going to help your stock, the value of your stock. You still got the same captain of the ship, and he just keeps doing everything he can to sink that ship. You know, if there's a fucking iceberg out there, he's gonna ram into it. It's like, even on purpose, if you wanted to do as bad a job as Dmitry Kozko as a CEO, I don't think you could do it if you tried on purpose. So this whole thing is just bonkers. Let me go on with the article, but I just had to put that out there because that's the big question for me. It's like, what the fuck is really going on behind the scenes? This stuff none of this is surprising to me. You watch, it's gonna be more of this bullshit. There's nothing here that's gonna shock anyone. In addition to game announcements, the company reported a net loss of $36.8 million in 2022. This comes after 2021 saw Motorsport Games report a net loss of 33.7. So between in the last 2 years, these people have lost $70 million. Over 70, actually. How do you... Good Lord. $70 million, and the company is not even... To lose that amount of money alone is incredible. And then to turn around and look at the fact that they're not making anything. They're lying about developing the next NASCAR. That was all bullshit. They weren't even paying their employees and their Russian counterpart or group that they had working. They didn't pay them for months or God knows how long. So how are you losing so much money? You're not paying people to make games. So you can't even point at something and say, look, we poured a bunch of money into this and we just screwed up. But that's where the money went. We had to pay people for this, and that. Nobody's working. Nobody's making stuff. They've been laying people off for as long as I can remember. What are they actually doing that's burning money? I get it. Like the fact that they're not making a game and selling it and there's no profits coming in. Yeah, that's going to account for a big chunk of your losses. Where are these other losses coming from? Well, we know that he's been paying himself an incredible amount of money for since he got there. While they're laying people off, while they can't get anything moving. But he's still making millions of dollars. I mean, millions and millions. So, is he just funneling everything, all, the investment money, whatever, somehow is just ending in his bank account? I don't know, right? I don't know. It's like, if you just follow the money and you look at what's going on, what other conclusion can you come to? How is this guy making so much money, keeping his job as CEO, when everyone knows, and this is one of the worst ventures in the gaming industry that I can remember. And they're just burning an obscene amount of money. And he's still making money. They're losing $70 million in the past 2 years. And no games, they're not working on anything. So where is the money being burned? Obviously, many are concerned about the state of the company after yet another another year of multi-million-dollar losses. Immediately after the earnings call, Motorsport Game CEO Dmitry Kozko, DK, known to others, sent a company-wide email to update staff. Costco started the email off by thanking employees for their unwavering dedication and hard work. It's like he reads from a handbook. Everything he says is just empty rhetoric, like a handbook, a beginner's handbook to how to address employees at a corporation. He then talked about some of the issues the company has faced over the last 12 months. The past year has been filled with trials, including the ongoing war in Ukraine and operational hurdles, which have tested our resilience as a company. This right here, I cannot tell you how much I hate when these people use something that has nothing to do with their business. And they did this from day one. This bullshit Ukraine war that, by the way, America started and has been setting up since 2014, since we installed that government. Sorry, I know you guys don't want to get into politics. I'm going to leave it there. Okay? You guys, I know you did not want me to get into politics on this channel. You just want one. So I'm going to leave it there. Do some research. Don't believe all these fucking lemmings on social media with these Ukraine flags in their bio. Okay? People like Steve Hood, who left, smartly jumped off ship, but, people like that are part of this whole bullshit narrative that America, England, Europe, all this, all of these peoples that are part of NATO, all this propaganda that they want you to think that, things are a certain way. This has nothing to do with video games. It has nothing to do with this company. It's all bullshit. But it's disgusting. And he's throwing this out there. This is what he's telling his employees. Your efforts have enabled us to make significant strides in our product release schedule. What strides? I mean, he's gaslighting the people that work there. Like they don't know what's going on. What strides? What games? This is a joke. Make significant strides in our product release schedule. Not everything's delayed. The NASCAR game is in limbo. I mean, lying to the public, I get it. Lying to investors, I get it. I'm not saying it's okay, but from that corporate mindset, yeah, they're gonna put on the best face. But to the people working there, it's insane. It's like, you really think? Good Lord, man. I don't have it in me to I don't understand how people like this operate. You have to be born for this. And continue our focus on developing immersive IndyCar and NASCAR gaming experiences. Again, what focus? Developing. Nothing's being developed. He then continued to tout the company's recent $11.3 million capital raise, the $4 million debt exchange with Motorsport Network, and the completion of its 1-for-10 reverse stock split as reasons to be optimistic about the future. That said, Costco once again brought up uncertainties. So on one side, he's telling you there's a lot of reason to be optimistic because of all of these money games, right? Because that's what it is. It's just robbing Peter to pay Paul. This capital raise. We don't know how that money was raised, really. $4 million debt exchange with Motorsport Network. That's your parent company. They're just bailing you out. That's not going to go on forever. This 1-for-10 reverse stock split that caused, they were able to artificially inflate the value of the stock, a little bit. This was at the end of last year. I covered that already. This means nothing. When you lost $70 million in just in the last 2 years, what difference does this make? And if you don't actually use these funds to actually pay people to actually work and make a game to push out the door, what are you doing? And then but then he says, once again brought up uncertainty. So he says that, and then he turns right around and he's like kind of admitting right there, yeah, well, there's uncertainties. Same shit he's been saying for 2 fucking years now. I want to remind you that the strength of Motorsport Games lies in our people. Yeah, the people that you don't fucking pay. You don't. That's how much you respect them. That you had employees you didn't pay, and then you told them that if you want to keep it, if you want your job, you're gonna have to move. You're gonna have to move your family, leave everything behind, and then take a pay cut on top of everything. That's how much respect he has for the employees. And what about all the people that have been let go and laid off? This guy is such a piece of garbage. And then with this jargon, this is bullshit. I want to remind you that the strength of Motorsport Games lies in our people. Well, that's why Motorsport Games doesn't have strength. Because you don't have anybody there. And the few people you do have there, what can they do? And the guy at the very top, the CEO, doesn't know what he's doing or is purposely doing something. I mean, I don't want to go there. It's just, I don't know. But this whole thing is insane. And how this is not part of mainstream media news is mind-boggling. That you need one guy out there who sticks his neck out and tries to get this information. And he does it because, like any good journalist, they have sources they can rely on. That's how journalism works. And that's how we know what the little bit we do know is thanks to people like Mike Straw. How is this not being covered by more people is insane. Holy shit. Together we will continue to drive the only official racing games forward. The only official racing games. They don't exist. You have the licenses that you're not even using. You're not doing anything with it because you can't, because you fucked up so bad. Creating the most immersive and engaging racing games for our fans. How many times have you heard him say this shit in the past year and a half? And it's always for his investors in these investor calls. He couldn't care less about us, the consumer base, the ones that he promised they were going to be more transparent, but they won't give Mike Straw an interview. They won't, he's reached out to, well, hold on. He closed the email to Motorsport Games employees by announcing the hiring of a new CFO, Jason Potter. Potter has been the EVP and Chief Accounting Officer at Motorsport Games since 2022. This is another meaningless bullshit, move. Who cares? Chief Financial. See, it's all about finances, raising money, and dealing with, investors and trying to raise capital. That's all he talks about. Is like actual game development is. Who cares? Regarding the state of NASCAR and IndyCar gaming, Insider Gaming has reached out to NASCAR, IndyCar, and Motorsport Games. So far, requests for comment from NASCAR and Motorsport Games have gone unanswered. So, there you go. They won't talk to actual journalists. They don't want to. And if they do, they're going to just issue bullshit answers like they've done. So, then you got NASCAR. NASCAR doesn't talk to anybody either. So this is to me where my focus is, because I've been done with Motorsport Games. I know what they are. I've told you guys. I told you how things were going to work out. Almost everything I've told you has worked out almost to a T the way I said. The only thing I have to admit, I thought they would be dead by now. I really cannot fathom how they could still be alive at this moment. I thought by now they would have just collapsed. How do you lose $70 million, have no products on the pipeline, and you're still operating, or you're still like alive? And all I can say is they are just desperately clinging onto the licenses, hoping some sucker comes and offers them something where they can recoup some of their losses. That's not going to happen. Nobody is dumb enough to come and give these guys a king's ransom for a fucking license. They're just going to sit back and wait. And by the way, I keep telling people, you know, the NASCAR license, there's not going to be a dozen people beating down the door to make games. There's very little interest in making NASCAR games. And that's the sad truth, but it's the truth. The only chance we have is like iRacing with, you know, who owns Monster Games. Right? They're already in that space. They already have resources they can use. But to think that some other big developer is going to come and just fucking, yeah, we want to make a NASCAR game. There's no profit in it. They're not dumb. This is crazy. However, sources close to the development said that NASCAR 23 never fully made it out of the designing stage. No shit. IndyCar did provide a response. Let's see what IndyCar said after also making a fucking head-scratching, what the fuck move by walking away from iRacing and just coming here and giving them their license after everything that's happened. That decision must have come after a big fucking coke-fueled weekend, you know, in the Bahamas or some shit. Motorsport Games has reported that they continue to make strides in their development efforts. But they, like, this is like, it's almost, is this really coming from IndyCar, or is this just a statement that Dimitri wrote himself and says, don't worry, I'll make your statement for you? It sounds like it's coming directly from him. Big strides in their development efforts. What big strides? Nothing's happening. These people are so full of shit. But they do not believe they will be in a satisfactory position to release an IndyCar game this year. No shit. So where's the big strides? But you can't release a game that you promised was coming out this year because it was so deep in development. You already have a working product. Holy shit. We are evaluating this information and remain thoroughly committed to bringing the best quality video game products to the IndyCar community. How? When you just committed your license to this atrocity that is Motorsport Games. We're evaluating the information and remain thoroughly committed. They're watching a bonfire. And you can't get worse than this. And they still have to evaluate it. And they still think that you're going to get some great game. You can't make this up. It's just insane. The last full-scale release by Motorsport Games was NASCAR 21 back in October 21. The company released NASCAR Rivals, Nintendo Switch, which was more of an enhanced version of NASCAR Heat Plus in October 22. Okay, so there you go. More of the same. Nothing really new here. Just more bullshit. Just goes to show you, even just having the balls to just gaslight your own employees that know what you're doing, are fully aware. How is this guy still making millions of dollars as CEO? It's insane. I don't get it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If go check out the original article, and just go on Twitter, give Mike Straw a like, and let him know I sent you. I look forward to your comments later.